Hello and welcome to a new episode of Mole Thoughts, and this time we have a review of Stranded: Alien Dawn, Robots and Guardians, which is the first paid DLC for Stranded: Alien Dawn. And the key was kindly provided by Frontier Publishing, thank you very much for that. But before we look at the game itself, let me make something very clear. They also released a completely free patch with this DLC, which adds a lot of quality of life content people have been demanding since day one, like what your survivors are allowed to eat, which materials they are allowed to utilize, what they are allowed to craft, and you can even now create zones where you can tell them that they are allowed to go there or they are not allowed to go there, like a lot like in RimWorld, right? Like a lot of people have been demanding this, that you just have more control over the management options in the game, and they implemented that for free. So if you enjoyed Stranded, but you also kind of thought, this can still cook a little bit, now is a good time to jump back into the game and check out all the new things they added with free patches. But now let's talk about the DLC. What do you get here, and is it worth your money? Well, the first thing you get is a new scenario, which you are seeing here running in the background from one of my live streams, and you have to protect Hope. No, not Hope, but Hope the robot, which is a sentient AI, which you're also seeing here running around in the background. And there will be other robots spawning on the map trying to murder her, but your goal is to get her completely sentient by letting her do all the different work and human things stuff a humanist experience, right? So that she is becoming completely sentient. But if she dies, it's game over. And I nearly managed that in the first few minutes because she got struck by lightning twice. Don't let that happen. That's a pretty bad idea. But that's the first thing you get. You're also getting a lot of new research. New buildings, new defense turrets, new weapons, and a lot of the smaller things people have been demanding since the early days, right? If you wanted more research, if you wanted to have more crafting items, if you wanted to have more buildings, then that is exactly what this game is giving you with the newest DLC. But we have to talk about one of the biggest features which is coming with this DLC, and which is also the biggest problem, I would say. People have been demanding one particular thing since the beginning, and that's that you can have more survivors. Because, like RimWorld, there's a lot of stuff to do, but the problem is that this game wants to focus a little bit more on the personality of the survivors, even though they're not fully managing that really. And so you're not getting that many pawns, aka survivors, in Stranded. So you have the same amount of work to be done, like in the game like RimWorld, but you have less people to do it. And it just becomes tedious. You have so much work that your survivors cannot keep up anymore, and you are falling more and more behind. So what did they do? Well, with the newest DLC, you now have the ability to build robots. And the robots can basically do all the things which your normal survivors are just don't really want to do. This hard labor, they can even defend your bases, they can do the cooking and all that. So you can program them in a way that they are doing the work for you for most of the things. Like they have a few things they cannot really do or cannot really do well, and your survivor will be superior. But when it comes to transporting things from A to B, or as I said, like doing the hard labor, like getting all the wood or all the stone, you can now have robots doing the work for you. And I see that a little bit problematic. As amazing that is, that this is now a feature, that feature is behind a paywall. People have been complaining about this since day one. They always said, hey folks, listen, there's too much work and I don't have enough survivors. Please let me get more survivors. They even tried to mod it in and it never really fully worked. And so the community definitely wanted this feature from day one, and now they are selling it to you for money, which I have a problem with. But with that said, there's a big but here. If that would have been the only feature they are selling to you, I would have said, nah, This is unacceptable. But they don't. There is tons of stuff in here. The new scenario is great. The other research items you are getting are great as well. Like for first aid, weapons, buildings, defenses. You are getting so much stuff on top of that that I think it found a balance to have one feature people have been demanded since day one, but also add tons of other features people wanted. And so you don't really notice it too much. You are not like super laser focused on this one thing because you realize, oh, there's a lot of other stuff coming with it, right? So, in my opinion, for $12.99 or regional equivalent, I think this DLC is worth it. If it just would have been the robots, I would have said, wow, you sell the solution for the problem you just created yourself. But they're not doing that. They're adding much, much more to the game than just the robots. So let's say, would they remove the robots and just sell the DLC as it is? I would still say it's a pretty fair price. Not like some other games recently with their DLCs. Total Warhammer. I think it's a fair price for the amount of content they are offering you, for the amount of new things they're offering you. And yes, there is a feature in here people have been demanding since day one. So at least they are listening to their community, right? And in my opinion, yes, I would recommend it if you enjoyed the base game and this was always like a problem for you, that you felt like you don't have enough survivors. This DLC is definitely alleviating most of the pressure points people felt by playing this game. And again, I enjoy it even more than I enjoyed the base game. And I think they're going in the right direction. So I do recommend it if you enjoyed the base game. If you didn't enjoy the base game, you hated it, this DLC will not necessarily change much. It's still the same game with some new features and they're building on that. But again, if you enjoyed it, grab the DLC. I think it's worth it. One last note, please devs, I would like to see some multiplayer. Can we get some multiplayer? I love the RimWorld multiplayer, just saying. I know that's like, huh? Where's that coming from? I would really love to play this game in multiplayer. So I'm hoping down the line we might see that with a DLC or with a patch at some point. That would be great. But with that said, if you want to see more strategy games, live streams, and a complete focus on strategy games, you came to the right channel. So I would appreciate if you might leave a like and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. We're doing reviews, let's plays, guides, a lot of City Skylines too right now. So if you want to check that out, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.